Hello, Villa Park. This is Al Stash. Welcome back to another episode of Uptown Villa Park. We're here at the Village Hall in Villa Park on Ardmore and Home Avenue. And we have a very special guest again this week, the third of our interviews with our candidates for village president. And this time we have Mr. Bob Taglia. Bob, how are you?
Good morning, Al. Thank you for having me.
Awesome to have you here. Yes. And on Bob's left is Sid Berg. How are you, Sid?
If I was any better, I don't know what would happen, especially for an old guy like me. And it's a pleasure to be here with Bob Taglia, as Bob has been a socially good friend.
A good friend, that's right. And over here is Dennis Keating. How are you, Dennis?
Good. How are you today?
Good, good. What happened this week? Anything exciting with you?
You know what? Last year, 2016, was the warmest year in Chicago ever.
Right, in the world. Right, right. You're talking about global warming.
Global warming.
What do you think about that? This will cover the whole hour. Go ahead.
I haven't melted.
You haven't melted. Well, that's good. That's good. Well,
that's important. Another subject, while it's not pertaining to Villa Park per se, that as we can't do too much about it, we can give of course, our help. But global warming is going to warm up things. Maybe Florida is going to be underwater. You know, we got to watch out for things like that.
There's a lot of discussion on that topic, and that's not our topic for today, because you're right. In Villa Park, we can do certain things, but mostly about the immediate needs of the community, and we're going to get into that with Bob Taglia. But I agree, global warming is a big issue. Let me tell you about my week. We have some great paths here in Villa Park. We have the Illinois Prairie Path, we have the Great Western Trail, and a very small portion of the Salt Creek Trail, or Salt Creek Greenway as it's sometimes called. And I have been using all of them. And I'll tell you what, I feel fantastic because I'm not out there running, I'm not out there walking my dog or biking, I'm just walking. And this morning I got on the scale and I am now 3 pounds away from my target, which gets me away from being overweight as a 61-year-old to normal. So 3 pounds, and we're talking about almost 500 miles walking since October on these trails. They are awesome. They're excellent. Please get out there, folks, and enjoy them and use them. Bob, do you get a chance to use them with your family?
Yes, I do. We quite enjoy the Prairie Path and the Great Western Trail.
Yeah.
We take family bike rides, and what I like about the Prairie Path is there's several parks along the way, so the kids can stop and play when they get tired to ride their bikes, and that gives me a break. There's water fountains. You know, we've made a lot of improvements. There's now there's a bike rack by the French market, so people can ride their bikes into town and park their bikes at the rack and go and shop, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Have you been on the Salt Creek Greenway at all?
Occasionally. It's a little bit far for us. I still have a young son who's 7, so he has a little bit of trouble going the distance, but we're working on it. You know.
And you're biking, right?
Yes, bicycle
All right.
riding.
See,
yes.
I learned this years ago with my nephews when they were 8 and 9 years old. And you're talking about Benjamin, your little guy.
Yeah,
but
that's right. Yes.
Jacob's older and he's taller, right?
Yeah, he's a Boy Scout. He can go. Yeah.
So taller means he's got a bigger bike.
He does. That's correct.
Bigger wheels.
Full-size bike. Yes,
so years ago, we used to ride from Villa Park out to Wheaton College in the fall. Beautiful weather to be out on the path, and go to football games. Yeah. And I had my nephews who had bike tires like this. Yeah. And I had, you know, the 27-inch Schwinn bicycle tire, and I'm just tooling in, you know, low gear, and I turn around and my nephews are like gerbils in a cage, trying to keep up.
They're trying, yeah.
I mean, they're going 12 times faster than I am just to keep up with my one stroke on those big tires. So it's an important thing. And I see people with dogs doing the same thing. You know, they take their dogs out, and the dog's like trying to keep going. And I'd say, you know, ask the dog, does he want to really do this? But we'll see. But I enjoy the paths, and I know you and your family do too, so that's great. Give our audience a chance to learn exactly who you are. Some of them know you. Not everybody. There's 22,000 people in Villa Park. Maybe a few don't know who you are.
Okay.
So tell them who you are.
My name is Bob Taglia. I'm 45 years old. I'm happily married to my beautiful wife, Kimberly. We've been married for coming up on 17 years. We have 3 beautiful children. Our oldest is 14. He's in 8th grade at Jefferson Middle School. His name is Jacob. My middle child is my beautiful daughter, Gabriella. She's in 6th grade at Jefferson Middle School as well. And then my youngest is Benjamin. He's 7 years old, and he's in 2nd grade at North School. So I'm very happy that my kids have only lived in Villa Park. They've only attended District 45 schools so far. Even though we did buy our 2nd home in Villa Park, and we did move. I went from West Central Villa Park at 110 North Wisconsin to East Central Villa Park at 141 East Division. So yeah, we've been here for a while, and I really love living in Villa Park. We have a great community. Really happy to be a part of our community. My wife and I have both been involved all across the board in Villa Park, from PTA to Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts to the Masonic Lodge to the Committeemen's Organization, commissions on the village board. It's been I this past year served as the treasurer for the Men's Auxiliary at the Villa Park VFW post 2801. So I'm very proud to support our veterans, who I think is a very important part of our community.
We got a commercial.
Well, he just stole all of Sid's thunder, because Sid always breaks in something about the VFW.
Well, we'll give him a chance. I won't say too much, but that's pretty much who I am. And I work at the university, at Northwestern University. I love my job teaching. I love the students at Northwestern. They're really brilliant, bright kids, some of the smartest people I've ever met. And it's still a job I really love. I still have no problem driving to Evanston every day.
And that's not an easy ride.
And it's not an easy ride. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but it is just such an enjoyable job. It's just such a great career. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Excellent, excellent. That's good.
Can I break in a minute here and say, what is your subject that you're teaching?
Oh, I work in the design and prototyping lab, and I teach my engineering students the methods of how to create their designs and build them into reality. So it's a lot of technical information, a lot of manufacturing processes, and I've always enjoyed it. So it was a good transition for me. Being a former tool and die maker, spent a lot of years developing the skills and the talent to build things to make products, and it was a nice transition into education for me. After our manufacturing economy took a major downturn in the early 2000s, it was really, I was very lucky to get the position, and I've really enjoyed it.
Let me ask you something. If your curriculum includes, and I may be dating myself because I'm not into tool and die as much as everybody else, but CNC machines, those that are programmed to do the steps that are part of the manufacturing process on it.
Yes,
you get into that in your class?
Yes, we have them, and I teach it. I've been teaching that it's been one of the main topics I've taught at Northwestern for 15 years now, and it's grown, and I'm really proud of our facility. We have some very generous benefactors, and we have a beautiful facility at Northwestern. So I'm always happy when I see some of my Villa Park kids show up at the university, and it's always fun. So
let me ask you, I'm kind of a geek in this area, so I like this stuff. Yeah. What about 3D printers?
Oh yes, yeah, we have a beautiful 3D printing lab. We call it our rapid prototyping laboratory, and we can 3D print in various materials, from plastic to even today sintered metals, where you can take the metal 3D printed prototype and put it in a furnace, heat treat it. Now you have a steel 3D printed component.
So it's built before it's actually put into a foundry type thing.
A powderized type of metal with a type of an adhesive, and that kind of sticks together as you print it. Then you take that soft printed prototype and you put it in a heat treat furnace, and it comes out metal. It's pretty
awesome.
neat. Yeah.
You really find that's going to be more and more and more in manufacturing?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's research going on at the university right now where they are using biological materials to 3D print organs for people and things like that. So it's pretty amazing, and I've seen some pretty incredible stuff done in biomedical engineering at the university, and it's really promising. We might be able to make replacement parts, guys, so we could go the distance with
BioSyn. Well, that's interesting, because now you cross into other areas, because the folks that are doing those 3D organ products need to understand how to get to that design level, right?
Absolutely, that's right. And the manufacturing process, the subtractive process, can become very difficult, because you're trying to hold an existing material and shape it. And that becomes very difficult with very intricate shapes like human body parts, organs, and things like that. But the additive process of where you start with a blank sheet and you place the material where you need it, essentially 3D printing, really solves a lot of the challenges you have in manufacturing for fixturing and holding and containing the cutting forces needed to produce very thin-walled geometry. So really excited about 3D printing. It's definitely the future. And I remember being a young apprentice, and another apprentice told me he dreamed that one day there'd be a machine where you just press the button and the part would be inside of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think
Now it's actually true.
we're going that way
It's
pretty
true.
quickly.
Wow,
So
that's
it's pretty exciting. It really is.
Excellent.
You mentioned something about seeing kids from Villa Park go to school.
Yes, I've had several. Yes, I have.
People say, well, the younger kids don't know what's going on. We're going to have a great education kids coming up in the future.
Oh yeah.
We're going to have one of the smartest groups coming up yet.
These kids are sharp. They're very sharp.
Yeah.
I think the technology has helped accelerate the learning process, and I have young
We see these
students.
kids pick up these phones, and it's a computer. And
It is a computer, and they have the world's information available at their fingertips. So
and they
it's
use
really
it, and
changed
they use it.
research. Yes,
And, yeah.
absolutely. Yes.
So we're saying Encyclopedia Britannica salespeople are going to be on the downswing?
Well,
They're going now.
I think they are.
I still have a set at my house, so they'll stay in a box where they belong, because you're right, everything's on that. But let's get back to things here in Villa Park and your role here on the village board. Tell us, you've been on the village board now for how long? 8 years?
This is coming up on, this is my 8th year. Yes, that's right.
Okay. And before those 8 years, you were involved in the village in other capacities. Tell us what those were.
Well, when I moved to Villa Park, I was a young father, and I wanted to get involved with the community because, as a child, I lived in Villa Park, and I remembered it as being a really great place to be a kid, and we had a lot of fun here. So I wanted to get involved and just to make sure that my kids enjoyed Villa Park as much as I had. And I approached the village president at the time, Joyce DePija, and she told me ways you could be involved is joining a commission. So she gave me a choice of commissions to look at, and I thought the Environmental Concerns Commission was a good choice because the environment's very important. It's something that's very dear to me. I'm a conservationist, and I love the outdoors. I'm a sportsman, and it's very important that our natural resources stay clean and healthy, and we have a good environment. I applied to serve on the commission. And I was selected and appointed, and it was fun. I served under the leadership of Chairman Bob Wagner, our current trustee.
Right.
And I served with Deb Bullwinkle at the time, who was a commissioner. So I thought that we addressed a lot of very serious concerns in the village as far as the environment goes. And it was very rewarding, and it was nice to get to meet a lot of people throughout the community from that commission. So.
Well, one of the things that's part of environmental concerns is not only natural resources, but the way that we dispose of garbage.
Absolutely.
And in town here in Villa Park, there's been a subtle change in the way we recycle, right? Tell us about that.
Well, I know that we instituted a village-wide, well, the state changed the law. You can no longer throw electronics into the garbage. So we instituted a recycling program here in Villa Park. It was very successful. A lot of people would bring their electronics and things to our central depository here. And it just got to be a little bit too much because people from other towns were bringing their stuff as well. And as the price of scrap decreased, it became expensive for us to handle it. So we had to restrict electronic recycling to residents only recently. And it's, I think, 1 day per month on a Saturday you can bring your electronics in. Also, our waste hauler, Roy Strom, has taken a pretty good approach to recycling. We have one truck that picks up both recycling and waste. So instead of having two trucks come through, one for waste and one for recycling, we have one truck that does both. So that helps reduce emissions, reduces the wear and tear on our roads, and I think it definitely helps residents be aware that they should be recycling. And those of us who recycle responsibly know that most of your garbage is recyclable material, packaging. And I think that's something that we as Americans have to look at. The way we package things, we're really wasting a lot of energy and material the way we package our food and our products.
You only have to order one item, and I won't pick on one supplier, but one item from Amazon.com.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a cup.
Yes, sir.
And you get a box like this.
Wrapping
You get
paper.
a box inside. You get stuffing to keep it from moving around.
That's exactly
And you
what
pull
I mean.
that out, and now you have this enormous thing to dispose of, right?
And hopefully you're recycling it.
Right.
Because it is recyclable material. So
Yeah,
that's,
yeah. I have another pet peeve that we aren't gonna be able to solve, and that is pizza boxes.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. That is actually a tough one.
And to explain why, it's because
If you get
by
food products, yeah,
it's a paper product to start,
it is.
but it gets damaged by the food inside
That's
and
right.
cannot be recycled as paper, right?
The top lid usually has cheese and sauce on it from the pizza.
Right.
And that part is not recyclable. But what the manager had suggested at a meeting is you tear the lid off and inspect the bottom of the box. If it is clean and free of food products, please recycle that because
Excellent.
the
At least
best we
half
can
of
do
it then,
At least
right?
we can recycle half of it. Yeah.
Because we have Frank Lazara on here from
Oh
Domino's
yeah, I love
Pizza. We
Frank. I
talked
love
about-
his pizza.
We do too. And one of the things we talked about was there are 3+ billion takeout orders of pizza in the United States every year.
That's
Every year.
incredible.
And they all come with a box
A lot of pizza.
that cannot be recycled unless you do what you just talked about. Sid, you want to say something?
Yeah, no,
You
I just
mentioned
wanted
pizza,
to
Sid
ask,
jumps
as somebody who doesn't know, could we wipe off the
No.
top of that box?
It permeates the
in the-
paper,
It's in the paper.
the grease, the grease.
Yeah,
When
it's
the paper is processed, that wouldn't come out?
No.
So, actually, couldn't we have a pizza-flavored newspaper?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, moving
No,
on.
okay.
One other thing now. First, cooking oil.
yes.
Yes.
What do you do with cooking oil?
Well,
That's a loaded question. Go ahead.
you can recycle cooking oil.
There you go.
Can you?
You can. You have to.
We're
you
we're
should,
in Ville Park.
you should filter it into. You go to Dennis.
Sanitary district.
That's right. The Salt Creek Sanitation
That's
District
right.
has oil.
We'll take it over to the sanitary district.
Yeah.
Cooking oil and stuff like that. You bring it over there and back over there. You drop it off. Put it in a gallon jug or whatever you want, a 5-gallon jug, and we'll take them.
See, that's the thing that bothered me about that because, you know, you get one of those bottles that looks like twice the
Yeah.
width of this
Little bottle of cooking
for cooking oil, corn oil, whatever, vegetable oil, and you use it, and you don't want to use it anymore because you cooked fish or something in it, so you can't make anything else.
Yeah,
in it.
it tastes weird.
But I'm not going to take that one bottle to you. I need a bigger container to accumulate
gallon.
one. Yeah.
5
So
gallon.
that's the issue. Get a big container, in sealed container, and then you can take it over. Because, me walking over with this and saying, "Here, Dennis,"
Al, do you know where to get those containers?
where?
5-gallon cooking oil containers or clear polypropylene bottles with a cap. Bakeries use them,
Oh, okay.
and they throw them out. So if you go to the bakery, ask them if they have one.
And we have a couple
They're
here in town.
Happy to give them to you.
The restaurants too.
And how about a 3-pound coffee can? Is that acceptable?
We'll take them, sure.
Because
We'll see.
well,
I
have
got to
a lot
learn
of-
how to do
I
this
have a lot
because
of coffee
I'm
cans.
stymied by doing that so far. But anyway,
Okay.
let's get back to non-cooking oil questions.
Yes, sir.
After you were on those commissions, economic development, and now you wanted to become a trustee, what was the incentive or what pushed you into that mode?
Well, just being a part of the community, looking at concerns that my neighbors and I myself had as a young father, there are certain issues that I felt needed to be addressed. And
Give me an example.
well, there was an issue on my block at North Wisconsin Avenue. We had a lot of young people come into the bar and parking on our street. And it wasn't a big deal that they were parking on our street. It was just they were typically leaving around 2 in the morning during the weekdays. It was specifically on Tuesday nights. And they were making a lot of noise and really disturbing the residents. And tried to work with the bar owner. He was not very receptive. I talked with the police department, and they were frustrated because it's just hard to handle big crowds of young people who might have been, drinking and, just being loud, making noise and stuff. And I wanted to see what could be done to help alleviate the problem. not getting a lot of help from the people immediately involved, in the situation. I came to the village where I was disappointed. I was told that nothing could be done and I would just have to go home and deal with it. So
Okay.
I asked, I said, who makes the decisions that nothing can be done? And at the time, the village manager told me the board of trustees makes the decision ultimately. So I said, how do you become a member of this board of trustees? He said, well, you'd have to run for the position during an election and win a position. So I thought it was a little daunting, but I figured I'd try it, and I did. And we were able to really help fix a lot of the problems in the area of my neighborhood after I was elected to the board. I was, told by the board to get a petition, have the residents sign a petition, petitioning the board to restrict the parking to residents only after 10 p.m. On our street. And I was able to get the petition. I got almost 100% of the residents signed the petition. The Board of Trustees implemented the parking restriction, and the problem was largely solved. The kids still go to the bar and have a good time. They just don't park on the residential side street. They park in other parking lots near St. Charles Road, and it really helped. And I know it made me very unpopular with some people, but the quality of life had to improve. And it was just too frustrating as a young father to be woken up and disturbed by this on a regular basis. Not to mention that my neighbors, I had elderly neighbors, I had seniors, widows, widowers, other young families, and it seemed like a small issue, but it really was disruptive to our lives. So that's what really compelled me to run for the village board, was seeing that some things get addressed and some things don't, and why that is. And there's several reasons, but that's actually the true reason.
Well, other than that, which is very important, the quality of life on a street where you're balancing the needs of a business and the residents is important. But other things in your 8 years that you've been able to spearhead or continue with the village, tell us about things you're most proud of in the last 8 years as a trustee.
Okay, one of the things I'm most proud of is we kind of changed directions managerially with the village. We hired a professional village manager to come on board and take a look at our operation, see what it was we were doing right, what were we doing wrong, what could we do better. We hired also an outside consulting firm. McGladrey, RSM McGladrey came in and did an assessment on the village and our operations. And as far as I know, it's the one and only time the village had professionals come and assess our operation from an outside viewpoint. So I was very proud of that the board agreed to that. We actually did it. And the changes that have happened since then have been quite remarkable, actually. So, our village manager is a true professional. He does a wonderful job. He has reduced waste in this village tremendously. He has addressed a lot of the infrastructure problems that had gone unaddressed for many years. For example, when I first got elected, they closed the Ardmore Bridge. The village had known for decades that this problem was going to happen and didn't do anything about it. They just kind of pushed it aside. And then after our election, they closed the bridge. I said, here's a surprise for you. Our bridge has got a 0 rating. No one can drive over it. It's closed.
After ticking down over the years.
After ticking down for decades.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit frustrating, but a collective group effort with the new village manager and the board working together, and at the time our state representative Dennis Rebelletti and our state senator Carol Pankow really pulled for Villa Park, and they got us $1.1 million in state money to get that bridge fixed, and I was really proud to be a part of that process. I was truly involved with our elected officials at the state level and the board and the village manager. And I view that as our first real big team effort to do something major, and that was getting that bridge back open. And that happened. So I was very happy and proud of that. Really helped the village. I know that made it hard for a lot of people to get to the shopping district on North Avenue.
Right.
Getting to Target was very difficult for a lot of people. Instead of a straight shot, you had to go around. I also had seen ambulances stopped at the railroad tracks waiting for a train at Addison Road and North Avenue.
Right.
You know, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, we have to get that bridge open.
Right.
So that was, you know, a lot of people might not appreciate it now, but at the time that was a big deal. So that was, I think, the beginning. And then, yeah.
Okay. Well, talking about the bridge, and I observed a lot of what you just described, so
Yeah.
I completely agree that it was left too long. We've got another situation of a bridge here in Villa Park that's
Yes.
ticking down, and that
Yes, we
is
do.
the bridge over Salt Creek
Yes.
on St. Charles Road, just at the border of Elmhurst and Villa Park.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's a situation. A lot of people might not know this, but that bridge is entirely in the city limits of Elmhurst. And somehow, some board in the past thought it was a good idea for us to take ownership of a bridge that's within the Elmhurst city limits. We are solely responsible for its maintenance, upkeep, everything, even though it's not in our town. And if you guys
I didn't
look
realize it was entirely, I thought it was like a
no,
line in the middle.
No, entirely within the city limits of Elmhurst.
Wow.
And if you guys look at this intergovernmental agreement that was signed by a board, I believe back in the late 70s, it'll boggle your mind why anyone would do that. And Elmhurst has said it's your bridge. We understand the situation. And it's something that we still should address and work on as a board, is working with Elmhurst and coming to some middle ground on that. That bridge needs to be replaced. It is in the city of Elmhurst, but it's on the people of Villa Park to pay for it.
Right.
And that, I think, is, I don't know how it happened, but I don't think it's just. I think it needs to be addressed.
I don't have the ability to technically evaluate that bridge, but I walk under it.
Oh, yeah. It's
And there's a portion of that bridge that goes over the Salt Creek Trail and a portion that goes over Salt Creek itself.
Yes.
And the one that's on the section that's on Salt Creek Trail leaks icicles
Oh, jeez.
down through the middle of the roadway
Yeah.
to the lower level. So that just tells me that there's some issues about at least the top surface of that
Oh,
bridge.
yeah.
I have no way to evaluate the structure of it. Has there been a report that evaluates the structure and tells us where we're at?
Yes, IDOT is the agency that does the evaluations.
Okay.
And the evaluation the last time came back to where we did need to weight restrict the bridge.
Okay.
And that's why you see the signs that warn truck drivers, you know, there's a restriction ahead. And yeah, so the bridge is deteriorating. It does need to be replaced.
Okay. So it may be
I
a
can't
year or
say
two out, but
it
it's
might be
not,
tomorrow. We
it's
don't
not
know.
immediate, but it's going to happen.
Depending on the weather, you know, Al, that water dripping in there can freeze and it could break stuff, and you know that something could happen, and then overnight that thing could be closed.
Could change to another level or close.
And that's a major thoroughfare, so that's going to be a bigger problem than the Ardmore Bridge. You know, you guys know St. Charles Road is a busy highway in the morning and the afternoon. People coming and going to work, and it's
Yeah.
going to be a big challenge for us if that bridge gets shut down.
I once was out there taking pictures when that area was flooded. And our fire department had to go out there to assess a downed tree and got stuck. One of our fire lieutenants got stuck directing traffic back west on St. Charles Road. In other words, everybody was coming from the west, had to stop at that bridge, technically,
Yeah.
and turn around and go back, make a U-turn, go away.
Wow. Yeah, that's a
And
tough
in the
spot to
middle of
turn
that,
around.
the lieutenant got another call that he had to go to, saw me with a vest and say, Al, go out there and do this for me, will you?
Wow.
And I did. I was turning around pace buses on St. Charles Road,
Wow.
both lanes, and turn around and go back. So yeah, if the bridge closes, a nightmare.
Nightmare. Yes,
10
sir.
times worse than Ardmore Bridge.
Yes.
10 times worse.
Yes, I agree with that.
You agree? Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So that's going to be a big issue.
That is a big issue.
Okay, all right. Anything else that you can point to as a trustee that you were directly involved with that you think is really an advantage for the village today?
Oh, absolutely. I think that our plan for the road repair, the road referendum, was a big success as far as getting it passed by the voters. It was something we all as a board, and many people, even you guys, everyone, really pulled together to fix the roads and the infrastructure of our village. I'm glad that it passed, and we're making a lot of progress. I know that we're working on the underground stuff too, which is separate than the road referendum, and we're doing that.
Underground being sewer.
The sewer separation and,
Okay.
and trying to alleviate some of the flood problems that we have, in Villa Park. A lot of people get water in their basement, so we're working on that, trying to separate the sewers, and we're doing that through stormwater fees. And I know that it's been a burden for a lot of people, but a lot of people understand it and they accept it. They understand it's something we have to do. It hasn't been done. And I was very happy because I had some, I serve as the liaison to the Senior Concerns Commission, and I always keep the seniors in mind when I'm doing my votes and we're moving legislation forward. A lot of seniors are on fixed incomes, and some people just don't have the money to pay all these fees. So I suggested to the board that there should be some kind of a discount or a rebate for seniors or people on fixed incomes. And they agreed, and I was very proud of the board, and as much as some of us disagree on things, I'm very proud of this board.
Mhm.
We do work together, we do listen to each other, and that's important. And I was very pleased when Manager Key brought forward the proposal for a discount for seniors on fixed incomes for their water rate increases. So it just goes to show you, we can't all work together. We do have to listen to each other. You have to be fair, but more importantly, you have to be kind to people.
Yeah.
And I think it's something I'm very proud of that is going on. The village is moving forward. We've worked hard to move the village out of the past and into the future. We moved economic development to North Avenue. They have a beautiful facility. People have room to work. You guys remember when they were up there in the committee room.
Next door to us, yes.
You couldn't walk through there, you're tripping over stuff. It was just unfair to people to make them work in those conditions.
Plus, we would have developers come in and talk to those folks and see that.
It was embarrassing.
Now they're seeing a nice, beautiful conference
Beautiful,
room out on North Avenue, which we're trying to develop more.
Oh, yeah.
So
And
it's right there.
When I hear people say Villa Park has done nothing and we're stuck in the past, it's very unfair. It's a very dishonest statement, first of all.
Right.
It's not true. We've addressed everything from, we know our swimming pools are in bad shape. We're working on them. We're trying to come up with a plan. We want a beautiful new community rec center. We want to build it at Lions Park. We want it to have a pool and an exercise facility and all of this stuff that the people want. There is a plan, and we are working on it. I hear people saying we're not working on it and nothing's happening. Nothing can be further from the truth.
Yeah.
Everything takes time. It takes a group effort. It takes people to have to agree on what they're doing.
Well, one suggestion I have is people don't see that,
Yeah.
okay? They'll see what happens if they watch the board meetings.
Yeah.
And sometimes the board meetings are not on those subjects. They take a lot of time on other subjects.
Sure.
And so you get that impression that this is what you're focused on, that's it. Okay?
I understand that.
And so what hopefully we can do in the future, and if you're president, you can make me help this, is get more outreach like this.
Absolutely.
Sitting down, the village manager does something awesome every day,
Yeah.
every week or every 2 weeks, and that is he goes through the agenda and explains line item by line item by line. I'm going to
very
record
helpful.
with him that this afternoon for the next board meeting.
Yeah, no, Rich does a great job.
Nobody else in the area does that as a village manager.
I understand that, and that shows the difference between how far we've come over the last several years. Rich has been on board for 5 years now. He's done a wonderful job, and it's that professionalism that we need. We need to stick to that. We need to keep working that way. Let the professionals who know what they're doing do their jobs. And of course the board sets the policy and passes the ordinance and stuff. But overall, I believe this village board, the village manager, is doing a good job.
Excellent, excellent. Now, I'm going to switch hats now, or
Sure.
help you switch hats and talk about how you see the difference between being a trustee and a village president. Not just 4 seats down the dais,
Yes, sir.
but now a different role. What's the difference in your mind?
Okay, in my mind, I see the village president as the person who ought to be driving a consensus. There should be a board discussion with the trustees led by the village president. Where are your areas of concerns? What is it that you care about? What is it that you care about? What is it that you care? What should we be doing? Everyone has a different idea of what the village should be doing. But I think it's the village president's job to do this internal outreach with the village board, pull the board together and work together as a team, a true team, not just showing up on Monday night and chairing the meeting you know, I think the village president ought to be more involved with his board of trustees, making sure that their concerns are being addressed, you know, fairly and evenly. You know, it's not fair that one trustee who's in the village managers every week, every day of the year, you know, gets everything they want. You know what I mean? It has to be a more even disbursement of concerns for the board.
Yeah.
So as a trustee, it does get frustrating feeling like you're stonewalled or you're being ignored or whatever. So I think important for trustees to be recognized by the village president, included in the discussion of policy and what is the plan and where we're going. And as village president, it is something I would do. I would meet with the trustees and talk with them what it is they're concerned about and bring those forward to the public for discussion. And I think that is something that we need to do as a village board.
Okay, all right. If you do become village president, well, first, what caused you to run for village president? You're a trustee, and now let me explain one thing to the audience. Mr. Taglia's term expires.
That's right.
After this election, so
That is true.
if you win, you're president.
Yep.
If you don't,
I get to
you
go
don't
home
go back to the
and-
seat
yeah,
as
I get to
trustee,
go.
right?
Yeah, that's right.
You can go back to committee.
You go back to commission. But okay, what caused you to take on that decision?
Well, our current village president informed me that she would not be seeking a second term.
Deb
for-
Bullwinkle, okay.
Deb Bullwinkle for personal reasons. And she asked me if I would consider running for village president, you know, to kind of take her place. And I thought about it, and it was a hard decision to make because I really enjoy my position as trustee. You know, I appreciate the board that I work with and the people in the village. It was a very difficult decision to make because I know full well that in my position, my term ends with the village president's. And if I don't win this election, I'm off the board. And, you know, that gives the people of Villa Park the chance to, if they want someone new on the board, you know, I'm not midterm. If I lose
Right.
this, I'm out.
Right.
And I think it's a for me personally, it's a more honest approach. If the people of Villa Park want me to persist on this board, they'll support me, and if they don't, they'll vote for somebody else. And I think that's the true test of putting in your time, trying to listen to everybody. And it's something I've always tried to do is listen to my constituents, listen to the concerns of the residents, and express that to the board and even publicly at the board meetings. And maybe sometimes I do that too strongly, but I'm very passionate about the people, and it's their village, and we have to listen to them. And it's very frustrating for me, having been in the position when your trustees don't listen to you.
Where you began, right?
It's
Right.
There's nothing that makes you feel smaller or more insignificant than being ignored by your elected officials. These are the people we vote for. We expect them to listen to our concerns. So it's something I've tried to do.
And you're talking about a situation here in Villa Park at this level, the municipal level, where there's no other place where you can really effectively do that.
No.
Go to your elected officials, stand in front of them, and say, this is my problem, or this is my concern, or this is my suggestion,
Yep.
and get a response. I mean, yeah, you can send a letter to your senator, you can send a letter to the president, you can send a letter to the county,
Yeah.
and unless you have some incentive to go to meetings and follow up in spades to get to that level that you are at the municipal, no other place can you do this, right?
I agree with that somewhat. Although
You have
I
written
made it a habit to really get in front of other elected people,
Yeah.
especially for Villa Park. Our state representatives have been.
Well, I'm talking about
fantastic.
residents.
Oh, for residents, yeah, that's true. I mean, unless you want to commit to a lot of time, you're right, Al.
Yeah.
If you want, hopefully, to be heard and responded to, the local level is your best shot at it.
All right, now go to where you were talking about, where you as the elected official and village president can go to other organizations and other
Absolutely.
levels of government, right?
You know, as trustee, something I took full advantage of was the Illinois Municipal League drive downs, where municipal officials go all together as a group down to Springfield and in groups meet with your elected representatives in the state capitol. And that's a very effective method of getting their attention.
All the way up to governor, right?
All the way, I've been to the governor's mansion, I've had dinner at his table, and it was kind of neat, you know, it was kind of fun. But they do pay attention to your local officials when they come down there. And we've gotten a lot of things passed, a lot of things that the village wanted to do. I know that one of the trustees really wanted the crime-free housing program, and it was very frustrating being non-home rule, we couldn't implement it. So I went down to Springfield a few times with the board, with the other trustees and municipal officials, and lobbied our legislature. And it was actually Louis Viverito, the Senate Assistant Majority Leader, called me into his office, asked me what I was doing talking to a senator from Burbank, this Villa Park guy, what do you want from me? And I told him, I want crime-free housing for non-home rule municipalities. And he drafted a bill and he floated it, and didn't pass the first time, but eventually it did pass and we got it. So it just goes to show you, your local officials going to Springfield and working with the legislature can get things done for you. And it's been very rewarding, that type of relationship.
Okay.
I'm very proud that I've gotten to meet a lot of people in Springfield. So.
Good, Dennis.
And your state senators take your phone calls.
Yeah, that's right.
And your representatives take your phone calls. As a citizen, you can call you off the state senator, and they'll mark it down.
They'll log what you said.
Yeah.
Right.
But the senators take your calls now when you're a trustee or president.
Talk to me about the county level. Dan Cronin's the chairperson of the DuPage County Board.
Yes.
And we have, I think, three
Yes.
county reps.
That's right. Pete.
That's Pete DeCiani and
Sean Noonan.
Sean. I don't know Sean, but I
Sean
probably
Noonan's a good friend of mine. He's a really good guy. And then Liz Chaplin.
Liz Chapman. Yes,
She's,
I know Liz. She came
Liz
in.
is a good friend of mine, and I'm happy to know all three of them and work with all three of them. And I couldn't be happier with our county board representation.
Great. We've had Pete DeCiani here as a guest one
Pete's
time when he was running for U.S. Congress.
That's
So
right, yes.
great guy. I like him.
Pete's good.
But that's another area. The state is great. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they have bigger potential
Right.
than the county, but county has a lot of,
It's very immediate. We're in DuPage County.
right,
Yeah.
right. There's a lot of things that relate to us, including areas that are not yet annexed into Villa Park,
That's right.
that
Township.
are part of the
And that-
township, and
yeah,
they
the township
sometimes they're
alone.
little islands within the village, right?
They are, yeah. We have some residents who are completely surrounded by the municipality and they're unincorporated. So
Yes,
we've
but
been-
yet we provide services to them.
Yeah, you can't pull up the plow and drive past their house and drop it on the other side.
Or drive by in a fire truck when the house is
Right.
burning, right?
And you know what? That goes back to our village manager. He's done a great job trying to annex in these little islands of property within the village, whether they're on the south side or the far north side. You know, parts of the village that people almost forget about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, north of North Avenue, we have residents up there. Those
Right.
people live in Villa Park.
Right.
So
right. I
it's-
see
it's-
that on the Salt Creek Trail, the issues,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting when you go up there and knock on those people's doors. They're pretty surprised. They're like, "Wow, someone remembered us."
Yeah.
So I try to get to every part of the village. You know, that's the other thing about Villa Park is being a trustee. You're at large. It's not your district. You know, you got the whole thing. So you gotta move around.
Yeah, you don't have your little neighborhood to worry,
That's
it's a
right.
whole thing. But the other thing is, on the county level, they have, and Dennis, you could probably verify this, they have control over the way we manage flood issues,
That's right.
more immediately than a regional because of the quarry and the way they manage Salt Creek, right? Tell us about that, Dennis. Who runs the flood control system that dumps water into the quarry,
Army Corps of Engineers.
but who turns it on and off?
I don't know. The county does it.
Yeah. So
And you
flooding,
know, when
overland
When they
flooding,
open up the stone quarry, you know the stone quarry.
right, in
When
Elmer
the
Stone
water
Quarry.
gets so high in Hinsdale, they open up the stone quarry in Elmer.
Well, whatever rules, it's the county that determines that. So
Yeah.
the county has input on the flood control, overland flood control for a lot of our residents,
Yeah.
right?
Well, you know, and it's a big concern right now with a lot of our residents is the remapping of the floodplain that's being done right now.
And that's FEMA now.
That's FEMA, but
Right.
you know what? They go through the county for that.
Uh-huh.
So
That's right.
the county's very involved, and I've invited our representative from County Board 2, Sean Noonan, to come and talk to the residents about what's going on with that, because I've had a group of concerned citizens coming to coffee with the board. You know, if you've got a concern, come to that. It's the first Saturday of the month, 9 a.m. right here at Village Hall. Come and talk to your board. Tell them what your concern is. And right now, the big one is the remapping of the floodplain. That may or may not put you into the floodplain where you would have to buy flood insurance from FEMA.
Yeah.
So I think the incentive there for FEMA is to get everybody into it.
I went through a scenario like that with Cook County.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law wanted to put a deck on her back porch area, and make a long story short, the township, which she lived in, said, "Oh, you're fine, go ahead." The county said, "No, you're not." And the deck was 6 inches below the floodplain level, and it had to be torn down.
Wow.
And then we went through all kinds of scenarios for that. So I am intimately understanding this scenario for people who have flooding. I don't have it in my house, but it's an issue for a lot of people, and we need to address it through the county as well.
Yep.
All right, Sid, you've been sitting here quiet, and I haven't had a chance to call on you, so I'm going to call on you now.
We asked it before, and all the questions, just about every question I'd written down, Al had already asked you.
I cheated in looking at your list. No, I
You
didn't.
can ask again, Sid. I'll answer.
The things you've said, one of the things you're most proud of was the bridge over the Canadian National Railroad,
Yeah,
the old
absolutely.
IC.
Yes.
What
The
other
Ardmore
things
Bridge.
are you proud of that you
Oh,
could
wow.
come back and say we've done?
Oh, wow. A lot of stuff. I think we've done a lot, even just for existing local businesses. Something I'm kind of proud of, it might sound silly, but there's the facade improvement program. You know, that was a big deal for a lot of our existing local businesses. They wanted to spruce it up a little bit and maybe really give a facelift to their business and maybe give a nice facelift to our community. And, you know, the businesses who have been able to participate and utilize that, you know, their properties look really nice now. So always keeping in mind our existing businesses. You know, I buy all my cars in Villa Park, Castle Chevrolet. You guys see me. I'm at all the restaurants in Villa Park. If I need to shop or buy anything, I do it in Villa Park. I support our local businesses, and every businessman in town knows that. If I need my car fixed,
You cannot buy a 2x4 in Villa Park. Go ahead.
not yet.
Okay.
All right,
okay.
well, that goes back to even, besides always supporting our existing businesses, I'm really proud of the fact that we've been able to bring even new businesses into Villa Park. And now there are existing businesses as well, but I was really happy when Sonic opened on
Yeah.
Roosevelt. That was wonderful. To me, that was like Christmas. That was beautiful. You know, we've got a Chipotle now on North Avenue. A lot of people think that's not a big deal. To me, that's huge. I'm big smile. Inside.
Wendy's coming next door.
Wendy's is going to be
Wendy.
beautiful next door. All the new developments that are coming, that have come, a lot of redevelopment plans that are in the works. You know, there's always stuff to be done. You know, there's areas in town we're working on redevelopment right now, and there's promise. You know, and some things can't be divulged yet, but I'm really proud of the fact that we've been able to pull in new businesses as well as help our existing businesses always. Improvements to areas of town that have been blighted somewhat, like the North Avenue townhomes. Have gotten a lot of attention, and we've done a lot up there to try to improve the quality of life for the people up there. Fix the lift station, trim the trees, put in new lights, you know, all kinds of stuff to try to make it better. You know, more actively policing the area so people feel safe. Just a lot of things in the village that I'm proud of. It's really been a big group effort. So many people involved. You know, I can't take credit for it, but I'm just glad to have been a part of it.
All right.
Bob, you you're quite open,
Yeah.
really open, and I have to say this.
Yeah.
That you've been very supportive of the VFW, but you're only doing that because the food is good
That's right.
on a Friday night.
It wasn't such good food. So.
But I do notice that you stay, and you'll be talking to just anybody that wants to talk.
Oh yeah.
I know you do have friends, but of course you want to. You
You say that as your
But
surprise. You
anybody
have
can
friends.
come up to you and say, "Bob, I don't like what you did there."
That's right, and that's fair. And I can take my lumps. You know, I'm in the middle of 10 kids, and I've got 5 older and 4 younger, and I can take a beating and I can give a beating, and you know, it's just fair.
You have 10 kids in your family?
Yeah, I have. There's
Wow.
10 of us total.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know what it's like. I think that's what taught me compromise. Is when you're in the middle of that, you have to learn a little give and take. So
And oh golly, I just had a senior moment.
It's
All right,
okay.
Dennis, your turn. Dennis, anything you want to ask
you-
Bob?
You say you had 10 kids in the family.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up at?
Oh, wow. Okay, where did I grow up at?
Yeah,
When I
you-
was a little kid, we actually lived in Villa Park. And my parents got divorced, and then I moved to Franklin Park.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where
Yeah, so you got multiple families together, right?
I Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool.
What you said some future stuff is coming to Villa Park. What's coming to Villa Park? What's new?
Oh.
Some stuff we can't talk
say
about.
Wendy's.
Well,
I'll say Wendy's.
Wendy's, yeah, we can talk about, but there's a development on North Avenue that really can't be discussed as of yet. There's still land acquisition and things like that that has to stay confidential until that's all worked out and can be disclosed. But
Right.
why?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Competition, proprietary information,
You don't want to
all kinds of
acquire a
rules.
deal by letting someone's information out publicly too soon. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But let's just say, hopefully, a certain corridor on North Avenue near Ardmore should be improved.
Okay. No, I agree.
Go drive around and figure it out.
You know,
Yeah.
well, we, you
I
know,
believe me, I'd be happy to talk about it if I could. I don't want to be the guy who ruins anything.
we had the junkyard in the motel up for sale 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And a company came to Villa Park and they wanted to take it over. And Villa Park gave them a hard time. So they're in Oak Brook Terrace now,
Yeah.
Home Depot.
Yep.
They wanted to come here. Are we any easier to work with now, the village?
I believe so. I think what I've heard from developers is working with the current administration and their staff is much improved over the past.
What has to be.
You know, and the past is something we have to remember. I mean, you have to move past it,
Yeah.
but you can't forget the past either. You're
No.
going to make the same kind of mistakes. So nothing upsets me more in the past than thinking about how we lost Venutis. You know, and the facility Venutis built in Addison is like a palace. It's
Right.
phenomenal.
It's a castle like.
It
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
and if we could have kept them in Villa Park, you know, but that's what you
Yes.
have to learn from those types of things that happened in the past. So.
Well, one of the things that points to is that the Village of Villa Park has been planning to rewrite all of our ordinances and information about how we run the village by a big committee. Where are we with that?
Wow,
There was even a grant for that, right?
You know, that's a big job. I think it definitely needs to be done because our code book is very thick.
Mhm.
I can't say that I don't know where we're at on that right
Yeah.
now. I think that's a part of what the village president could do is bring that information public, you know, and talk about it so that people know. And I know there's a lot of things, and it's easy to think that what's being talked about at the board meeting is everything that's going on, and that's
Right,
never the case.
right.
So I'm sure something's going on, and it's a big task. It's just right now I can't give you.
Yeah, it's a huge task. I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy, but it's got to be done.
Oh yeah.
It's got to be done, but in the past, we tried to many times
Yeah.
get all the communities, government together, the schools, the township, and have one big meeting and tell them what you're doing, the village is doing, what the township is doing, what the schools are doing, the fire department. You get everybody together. Other towns are doing that, and educating each other.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Well, I think the village does a good job with our local government partners. I know District 88, District 45, the Sanitary District. I think we all have a very good working relationship. The county board, even our state representatives. I think Villa Park has a very good, open working relationship with other government entities, and it's definitely something I would really want to continue or accelerate. I think it's always good to have other government entities come to the village board meetings and talk about a topic that's important. Like, I think knowing that you can recycle vegetable oil
we
at
should
Salt
do
Creek is
something like
important.
that. We should do stuff like that. I think it should be on cable.
Yep.
So,
We can do that.
the seniors don't want to come out at night. They don't want to do this. People don't want to come to the meetings and just sit and do nothing. They want to come and get informed.
Yep.
They want to get educated.
I'm not trying to be cute.
All right.
I just point out something.
Yeah.
In your home,
Yeah.
there is a discussion between two entities of government
Yeah,
in our
that's
village.
correct. Yeah, that's
Your
right.
wife, Kimberly, serves as what?
District 45, she's a member of the school board, and I'm very proud of Kim. She's always been such a hardworking person. She really inspires me to be better. And
Who here hasn't been married and gotten that feeling? That's good. That's good. Great.
My wife's happy to get rid of me. Get out of Monday night. Go to the
Go.
meeting.
Get out.
Yeah, we used to have a meeting every Monday night.
it amazes me how much these women can do. It just blows me out of
Wait a
the
minute.
water.
Be careful.
They can outperform me any day of the week. They're great. They
Be
do everything.
careful how you talking.
But it brings up a good point, because I've sat with other entities and listened to some plans that District 45 is thinking
Yeah.
about facilities and things like that.
And the village doesn't know about them.
Oh yeah, they do. Yes, they do.
See, that's what, we assume these things and then have the wrong opinion and go down the wrong path and waste effort. So
Yeah, that's right.
I'm talking about citizens and not being aware. So,
Well, yep. I
Okay.
know that.
pardon? Yeah, I'm good on time.
Yeah, I know.
I checked that.
District,
Okay.
District 45 just had a intergovernmental meeting with several entities, and my wife told me it was very well attended. Manager Keener was there with his staff, and it was
Yep.
very, very good meeting. So these things do happen. We absolutely should do a better job of letting the residents know what's going on. Sometimes it's just hard to get information out to people. If people don't read the paper or watch the cable or check their emails, they don't know.
As trustees, yourself, you got involved with one issue at the beginning. Then you got on the board, you got an education.
Oh man, it's been, I couldn't quantify this type of education. I don't know if it's like a PhD program. I would imagine
Yeah.
it's been amazing. Yeah, it's absolutely been amazing.
Yeah.
The things that I've been involved with, just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Tomorrow, at the federal level, presidents will change.
Yes.
And we've already heard what the new incoming president plans to do. Now we want to know what our incoming president plans to do. What do you see as the opportunity in the next 4 years here in Villa Park?
I think the best opportunity that we have in Villa Park is keeping concentrated on fixing our underground utilities, separating our storm water and our sanitary sewers. It's not fair for people who have to live with raw sewage in their homes.
Correct.
We have to fix that. And I know that we're well on our way to doing that. So we really need to work together as a community and a board and figure out how we're going to get there, because there's only so much money in our budget to address these issues with, and it's going to be a challenge. Also, I know the library desperately needs to.
That was going to be my next question. Yes.
It's in the front of my mind, Al. It was an important discussion we had with the community and the library. I'm fully supportive of it. It's too bad that this wasn't passed years ago when we had the last opportunity. You know, we could be addressing something else right now, but that's just the way things work. Sometimes you're successful, sometimes you're not, but I wholly expect us to be successful on this. We need our library fixed. We need to bring it up to date. It's not fair to let the people who take care of the library work in those conditions. It's not fair to the people of Villa Park to not have a state-of-the-art facility. I mean, what we have is very good, but you guys were there. I mean, the boiler system's antiquated, the air conditioning systems, all of that stuff needs to be fixed. The ADA compliance, all of that stuff has to be fixed. So I will concentrate and focus on those items for sure, is separating our stormwater and our sanitary sewers and getting our library referendum passed. Those are things that I think we need, they must be done. That has to be done.
Okay.
That's the only way we can move forward with what we have in town.
Okay. All right, Sid, I'm going to give you one more chance. Got anything else on your list?
I've been just listening so well. No, there's quite a few things here, but most of it we've covered. And I don't want to go negative to find out what was your worst experience on the board. I don't want to know that.
Okay.
Because having been there, done that, I know there are some.
Yeah, I think most people would be able to figure that out. I don't think I need to explain it.
Now, you've already told me, so I was going to ask you this. Has it been old hat to be, after spending almost 8 years on the board, is it old hat now with things coming up, or is it always something new? And I would want to use the term exciting, but not exactly, not something we raise up and do that. But
sometimes it feels like old hat, and then they hit you with a curveball, and then you wonder if you ever really knew anything. So interesting you brought up a point. You know, listening to people. I was at the VFW Fish Fry, and nice young man was having dinner with his wife, and we got to talking, and before you know it, he gave me a whole education on things that I didn't even know about. So it's always exciting, always something new, and anytime you think it's old hat, something will happen and prove that you're very wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
well, you know, that gives me the opportunity too to say that we do have a lot of several village employees and village elected officials coming in to enjoy the Friday night feast, as I call it. And
Here's the
at
commercial. Here it
VFW. But what gives it a good thought is again, it's a spot where people can come in and get socialized and then get their problems across without, you know, with somebody is going to listen. Well, and enjoy the food at the same time.
Well, it's easy when I'm listening. I can eat while they talk.
Yeah.
That's right. You get a bonus.
But there's results, because you know, the follow-up to that Friday conversation, Sid, is Sunday morning. I took a drive down to the neighborhood to look at some issues and made some notes and sent some messages off to the village manager. And things have been addressed and things have been resolved, and that's what makes me happy. You can listen to a resident's complaint, concern, go to our village manager, always professional, always addresses things right away, and I couldn't be happier. It makes things work, and that's the point, and I'm very proud of that.
And finally, you said this before, and I just want to emphasize it again, that you would be a leader, you would lead your people. You wouldn't be browbeating them, or you wouldn't be running the.
You guys know me, and that's not who I am. You have to have a consensus, and you have to compromise. I'm never going to get everything I want, and you're never going to get everything you want, Sid. But we can meet in the middle. We can make things better for everybody, and that's the truth.
I've got to jump in because we're coming down to our last minute of the hour. I told you it would go fast.
This was amazing.
Yeah. So I want to give you the chance to speak to our audience and tell them whatever you'd like to tell them about your campaign in the last minute and a half.
Okay. I'd like to ask the people of Villa Park for their support. I'm a husband and a father. I have a beautiful family here. I'm very invested in Villa Park. It's the only town I've ever owned a home in. I'm very proud to say that I just purchased my second home in Villa Park, and I want to stay here and finish raising my children. The people here have been amazing. It's been a wonderful community. I've really enjoyed serving the people of Villa Park as your trustee. I'm open and I'm listening. And if there's anything that anybody has any concern with, you can always come and talk to me. I'll do my best to make Villa Park proud. I'll work diligently with the Board of Trustees and listen to their concerns and bring those concerns forward. I'll be here for the people. I'll be here for you guys too. If there's anything I can do to help, you know that I'll work my hardest to make it happen. I'll be honest and fair, and I've really enjoyed serving the people of Villa Park. It really means a lot to me, the support that I've been given, and if the people would support me this time, I'd be very grateful. So I'd just like to say thank you to the residents of Villa Park. Thank you to the Board of Trustees of Villa Park. Thank you to the village president for your years of service. I'd like to thank the village manager and his staff. They've been incredible professionals. Every department in this village, too many individuals to name, but they know who they are. I'm proud to know most of the people who work for the village on a first name basis. I'll be here, I'll be involved. I just want to move Villa Park forward, make it a better place for our children. And I do mean that. I sincerely mean that.
Great, great. Mr. Taglia, can you tell us about how people can get in touch with your campaign through Facebook or other means?
Absolutely. You can reach me on Facebook. Mm-hmm. You can reach me via my email. It's on the website. You can call my home. My home number is there. It's 630-617-8790. My cell number I have with me almost always, 847-452-6473. And I hope to see you at one of my campaign parties. So we're going to be up at Crazy Pour on a Wednesday, January 25th from 6 to 10, and it's open to the whole community. Come and have some pizza and have a drink on me, and we can talk. I'd love to see you there.
Excellent, excellent. Folks, you've been watching Uptown Villa Park. I'm Al Stash. Our guest was Bob Taglia, co-host Sid Berg and Dennis Keating. And we appreciate you watching our program again this week, and we will see you next time.